Powered by Riverside.
Welcome back to
You
Know What I Like Theater.
Theater.
I don't know what my hair is doing. It's flopping all over the place. I was like, humidity has not been our friend this summer going out to go see shows.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I always love, the little dance break at the beginning of our shows. It's very clear that you know how to dance, and I learned everything I know about dance from watching Snoopy specials on TV.
Hey, that's all right. We're just here to have a good time. We're here to like
Yeah.
theater and to welcome y'all into our little theater love circle. Like, you remember
Yes.
that in middle school, like everybody's doing the dance circle? Like, we want to welcome you into the middle of the dance circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a complaint like this past weekend. Like, we went to go pick up burgers after seeing a show, and
Hmm.
I was like, where do we go to dance? And I was like, well, there was one place about 20 years ago, and it's still the same place. There's no place to go and dance. So please dance with us here on our podcast, Vlogcast.
Yes.
Well, I was just talking about I had such a consternation about what to wear today. But since we're seeing a show in Seaville, in Charlottesville, I will wear
Hmm.
my Seaville shirt from Darling and Dashing, which is a consignment store downtown, but they sometimes have new stuff. And they have like a multiple, I have this in two colors. So I was like, I'm going to pick pink. But yeah, if you're in town, go check out Darling and Dashing. They're very cute. We've gotten matcha at a pop up there. It's right around the corner of Live Art. So
And to be
very
clear, not
beloved. We like them a
sponsored.
lot.
Yes, hashtag not sponsored. Just to be
Yeah.
clear, we just like the store. We're not
We
sponsored by
just
them.
like them a lot. I mean, literally, it was so funny because we went to go get matcha. I'm like, I'm getting a second sweatshirt. It's so
Yeah.
cozy. I love it. It's in a million colors. And I have
Yes.
two.
And if they choose to sponsor us in the future, we wouldn't be opposed to it.
I think I always say, like, my favorite thing about working, aside from, like, I help people, I work at the hospital, is I get to buy and support local artists and, like, vendors and stuff like that. Because, like,
Hmm.
if you can't tell, we really love our little community. Like, I don't think we would have spent a bunch of time and money in it if we did not. So like, yeah, we like our farmers market. We like our food people. We like our arts people. We like our little local companies. And really like working at the hospital affords us to be able to do that. So that's the real fun part, is building the community you wish to see in the world. Would that we
Yeah.
all be so lucky?
Yeah, and you often say something that I really feel kind of sums it all up, which is you've got to get out and give money to and support the people that you want to be in your community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that includes artists. Like, that's why
Yeah.
I think that it is not something we do very commonly. And I think probably if we were, quote unquote smart according to capitalism, we would have saved up all this money and gone on a vacation and, gone away from our community and done something special. But neither of us have really regretted the experience of taking our hard earned dollars and
Hmm.
giving it to local groups that we really admire and respect and are happy to support.
Yeah. All right,
Well,
so what are we talking about?
I know, let's get into it. We have a bit of a shorter break, and if you haven't discovered our secret, we are currently in a show.
Hmm.
So that means we rehearse a lot. And we recently had an election day, which meant I was gone for 20 hours
Yes.
between work and rehearsal and election. So we tend to record these in batches now. We used to do them one at a time, and now have found that we must do them 4, 5, 6 at a time. So yeah, we try to give you a little bit of visual interest, but at the same time, I feel like we're trying to be like, all right, let's get to the good part. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. We're done with the dessert. We're done with the appetizer.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna take a little drink of my coffee. You tell the folks something interesting at home.
All right. Well, what is something that I can tell you that is very interesting? Oh, the original Aloha shirts were actually manufactured out of kimono silk that was turned inside out so that the print would be less bright.
Excellent.
Now that's
Well,
an
now
interesting thing that has nothing to do with anything.
I just asked for interesting. I didn't ask for relevant. So we're going to be talking about DRM Adventures, which
Yeah.
is a local, I guess, educational group.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you why we went to go see them and how we found them and all that other stuff. But it is not like I think that you would think as a traditional theater. Like Live Arts is a theater. It has a theater space. Shen Arts is a theater. It has a theater space. Many of these places, Wayne Theater, has a theater is a theater space. This seems to be a theater education organization.
Hmm.
And then they perform
Yeah.
other places.
Yeah.
Um, but I found out about them because we went to go see Newsies. And they
Hmm.
said all of the kids who are the Brooklyn Newsies are from this group. And they were phenomenal. And I loved
Yeah.
them. And I was like, oh my gosh. Glenn knows we recently went to go see a kid heavy show. And I said, I just have my thumb on the scales for any kid theater heavy production because I used to work in theater education. I taught at Live Arts for a really long time. I taught at SME and New River Stage. So I am kind of used to, I want kids to succeed because I was a kid in theater. It made me find my place. It made me find my voice. I used to be very, very shy. I know it's practically the Winifred song from Once Upon a Mattress,
Hmm.
but it's one of these things that I found my community in theater. I found people who I enjoy and they enjoy me. I found the strength to express the courage of my convictions, to find leadership, to really struggle through some challenging things as it meant to work as an artist and as a director and as a writer. And so for me, I applaud every single children's educational theater activity because I think that everybody has to start somewhere. And if you don't have these experiences to get on stage or to work in technical work or to be able to find these places, you're not going to really find them anywhere else. Because I did band, I did swimming, I did a whole bunch of other things, but theater was the thing that always felt like home and I came back to. And as I talk about, other people find that in churches, I find it in theater. So
Hmm.
I find for me, I want every single child to be successful in theater, and I can find the goodness and joy in the ones that are learning. And so to me, this was a really exciting opportunity to talk about like what we saw and Be More Chill. This is the beginning of somebody's career. This is somebody starting with maybe a lifelong passion as they go work in an office or a hospital or somewhere else. Or maybe this is someone who's going to show up in New York or DC or Chicago or
Yeah.
LA or Germany or England. Like, who knows? Like, it's just really cool to see the start of something
Yeah.
and to
The
be
the
able to
kid that
encourage that.
Yeah, the kid that you see in your local community theater production could be the newest Marvel superhero 10 years down the line.
And that did happen.
Yeah.
Like I always talk about Jack Champion was part of New River Stage. And
Hmm.
if you don't know Joelle, like she's a really phenomenal Blacksburg theater educator. I worked with her for a little bit and he did plays with us.
Hmm.
And now he is in Hollywood doing Avatar and Marvel and all that other stuff. So, it's completely possible.
Hmm.
So this is DRM Adventures. We saw them August 1st, the same day as the Wayne Theater, Children of Eden, at 7:30 p.m. at the Paramount Theater on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. I felt the price was phenomenal. We already knew we loved the Paramount after seeing Barbara of Seville.
Hmm.
So we were so excited to go back. We were like, oh my gosh, we love the theater. We love the space. We had such a good time. Could not be more stoked. We kind of sat on the same side, but in a little bit of a different location. Still loved it. Amazing. And the cost was $48 for two adults, and parking was about $5 to $10. I don't remember. We parked a little bit earlier because we did go out to eat at Botanical Fair before we showed up.
Yeah.
So we did have like a different experience where we stayed a little bit longer, but we kind of parked in the same place. So I always tell folks it's like 5 to 10, maybe at most $15 to park all night. I don't know. We were in Water Street, right? We were in the
Yeah.
parking garage.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about the same as when we went to go see Barbersville, when we got to go see Live Arts. You just got to set aside that extra $10 for parking.
Hmm.
The show was Frozen. I always say Disney's Frozen, not Frozen Junior. We saw Frozen. We were really
Yeah.
excited about that. Because like sometimes like when you go to kids things, they'll say, "Well, this is Frozen Junior." You're like, okay, it's like I liked the aspect that there was this potential for kids to grow into this like adult show. And there was definitely roles for kids in the adult show. And so I liked that they were doing a mixture of adults and kids, and they were going to show the Broadway show. They were not going to do the school version, the kid version. So I felt like, great, we're going to see a community theater show. It's not just
Yeah.
going to be, here's this end of year educational production. It was going to be a full fledged, we are showing Frozen. And I've not seen Frozen on Broadway. So, cool, great. We get to
Yeah.
see this here. And I was really excited for it.
And for people who aren't familiar with the way that Broadway shows and community theater shows work, junior shows are a fairly common thing in musical theater where you have a popular show, a show that people like to do and that kids will be very interested in doing, but it's a show that has a lot of technical aspects to it, a lot of intricacy to a production. It's not uncommon for them to also create a junior version. Like I think there's Annie Junior, and there's pretty much any major show you can find a junior production where the arrangements are a little bit more simple, the technical elements of it are a little bit more simplified, and it's designed for kids and schools to be able to do without needing all of the resources of a full-blown production. And this was, as you just said, this was not that. This was the full show. This was not the junior version. It was Disney's Frozen.
Yeah. So we were
Yeah.
excited. Again, we heard about DMR Adventures from their students' turn in Virginia Theater Festival's Newsies as the gang from Brooklyn. We were impressed with the Professional Performing Arts Academy that they were also putting on Frozen this season. As folks who regularly sing along to Let It Go, and we don't have children, we just love Idina Menzel. We knew we had to go. We wanted to go. We
Yes.
were excited about going. From the website, they describe DMR Adventures as an organization that provides professional performing arts training from professionals to students to prepare them for professional performances
Hmm.
and careers. They have mentorship programs, youth leadership programs, and encourage education and responsibility in performance. They create opportunities in leadership for technical elements of all productions, and they have opportunities all the way from one on one tutoring all the way to larger full scale theatrical productions. So that is from their website. I tried to like summarize it a little bit, but that was all the things I gleaned from it is that they do homeschooling, after school, summer camps. This is their bread and butter. This is what they do. They want kids that are looking to go into theater as a career. They partner with like Broadway performers and they go up to New York and they do all this stuff. Obviously, I don't think every single child is going to participate in everything. I think probably most people that are very invested will. Obviously, they're a education company. This is not, hey, we're just volunteering. This is, you're going to pay some money to learn this stuff, maybe take voice lessons, acting lessons, all that type of stuff. But like, this is what they say that they are. So I just
Hmm.
wanted to kind of like put that out there before we kind of get into our pros and cons. So obviously, like my first pro is Paramount, super duper impressive.
Oh yeah.
$48, really super duper affordable. Like, I mean, like we were excited to make a whole night of it. We went out to dinner before because we went to the Wayne. We had not eaten concessions, so we went out to a local vegan place, which was great. I had mac and cheese and a latte, and you had
Hmm.
a matcha and a little Buddha bowl.
Yeah. A little teriyaki cashews and sweet potato bowl and
Yeah. But really great. We really,
yeah.
really liked it. I got a cute bathroom selfie because I was wearing red and it was all green, love an artistic color wheel moment. People were really nice. Because it was one of these things like you ordered and then they like brought it out. We didn't have to waste a lot of time waiting for service. Food was hot, food was good. We were starving by that time because
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
to Waynesboro, saw a show, and then drove back. And we knew we didn't really have enough time to go home. So being able to like be on a place like the downtown mall, park, go eat, and then walk to the show was great. Like I said, we've already been to the Paramount. We loved it. And we also kind of knew like they had concessions there, but it was still we were ready for a meal by that point.
Hmm.
So they did offer concessions, same concessions that they had at Barber Seville. They also had like as you entered, um, I guess a merch table. Like I don't know how best to
Yeah.
describe it, but I just remember seeing like there was Olaf Squishmallows, and it looks like they called it Wandering Oaken's Trading Post, like the movie. Then they
Hmm.
had like a little thing of like how you could best support them through like a 50-50 raffle, or if you wanted to win a piece of the set. And then everything else was like pretty much the same of what you'd expect going to the Paramount, where the ushers were there, they led you to your seat. We were in a really cool location, which was like there was like this bollard type of like wall or something, and I
Yeah.
was like, right up against it, and we were kind of the only people in our row. There's a lot of other people around us, but we didn't really feel too encumbered by anything. We were like right on
Yeah.
an aisle, but like no accessibility to the aisle, and that was pretty cool because I think we were close to like sound ops, maybe like the sound was kind of near us. And then also there was a lot of movement that they did up and down the aisle, so it's like we had
Yeah.
characters constantly going past us, but because of the wall, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like hit them or put my purse in the aisle or anything. Like I thought we had phenomenal seats.
Yes, they were excellent seats this time around in the Paramount. We were not sitting in seats where they were shining lights directly into our face. And in terms of the audience size, it was fairly full, but it wasn't crowded, is what I would say.
Yeah, and like what I think I liked the most is, well, I was surprised by it, but I liked it, was obviously it was very reminiscent of maybe an experience of Disney on Ice or another
Hmm.
type of Disney performance because it was being sold as Disney's Frozen. So
Yeah.
you did see like 3-year-olds, 6-year-olds, little girls in dresses. They had cute little booster seats for everybody, which we love.
Hmm.
The thing that I think we'll talk about a little bit more is because they were selling merch all the time. You saw little girls in full merch, you saw dads in tiaras. So it was one of these things like, I mean, I'm not a parent, so like I recognize I know nothing. But I was just like, man, it starts at 7:30 and these are little kids. Like my sister is like super strict with her kids and she's like 8:30. Bath time, bedtime. Like that is the one thing I can say about my sister. She runs a tight ship. So
Yes.
not that I don't think there's not exceptions. Like, she goes out with her in-laws and our family and does Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that. But for the most part, like her kids are not really go out kids. I think
Hmm.
that they've done maybe a movie here or there, but they really like they're outdoorsy kids and they like to be at home. They like to swim. They like to watch Miss Rachel. So they're not big into plays and movies as much just yet. They're littler. They're 2 and 4 right now. But like I did see a lot of kids out there. And I also kind of recognize that maybe it is older kid is in show. Little younger kid is watching.
Yeah.
But I was surprised. I was really like, oh, it's bedtime. My bedtime is like 9 o'clock. So, but I do feel like I did like that experience. I liked that it was sold as if you are a little girl who loves Frozen, please come to this play. It was very safe and comfortable for younger siblings. So overall, I was like, that's cool. That didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And like, I am not the type of person that really adheres to a strict theater etiquette either. Like, I think I do personally. Like, I try to be kind of more on the subdued side because I was raised by baby boomers. But at the same time, like it does not bother me if a 3-year-old is screaming because something scary happened or they're cranky or they want a snack. Like it's fine to have a little bit more of a flexible environment where people can come and go and lights are on and wacky things are happening because that's the nature of doing a show where kids are going to come and enjoy it is you want them to be able to enjoy it. And so I feel like from my perspective, like I didn't care that we were adults with no kids coming to see a play that we wanted to see, even though it was mostly probably directed to the 6-year-olds with tiaras and wands and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, that's how we treat Disney movies too, is we're like, we like movies, let's go to the movie theater and see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this show is made for 6 or 7 year olds, but we're going to see it anyway.
Yeah. And it's like sometimes you just want to get that experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like I kind of was curious because, Elsa's a hard role to sing.
Hmm.
Like they really did require a lot of like really strong singers and performers, and to be such like this well-known theater academy, anyway, I was excited. The audience was what I anticipated. Overall, there was nothing that kind of read that this was inherently going to be a different experience than what we have seen from other community performances at the Paramount, aside from like, yeah, it was a bit more of a younger demographic, but it was fine. Everybody was
Right.
perfect. So you ready to get some pros about this?
Sure. Let's get into some pros.
So, my very first pro is the singers and dancers were incredibly strong and talented. There were some real highlights in both the children of the cast and the adult performers. And I think both of us have said one of our favorite moments of the whole show was Wandering Oaken wandering during intermission and talking to all the little kids and saying how much he liked their dresses and doing it in the Norwegian accent and just kind of like being able to liven up the experience a little bit more and engage people going into act two so that it wasn't just like, okay, lights off, let's go. Like he was like, oh no, I must get to my post. And he would
Yes.
climb. So we really enjoyed that. We thought that that was a really special moment and just kind of highlighted because he was playing multiple other roles throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
But like that was something we both mentioned we really liked.
Yeah. It set up a really nice intro into the second act. And I gotta love a character who interacts with the audience and walks around and makes dad jokes for all the little kids, How do you like my hair? I just got my big summer blowout, sort of thing. Uh, that joke will make sense as soon as the second act starts. So like I think that was, like you said, performances were very strong. I was very happy to see his sort of like easing the audience into the second act. Um, yeah, so performances, I don't have any problem with performances that we saw.
Yeah. Um, Second one is again, they had really excellent seats.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just skip that really, really quick. I just felt like it made the show feel really special. We
yeah,
had seen an opera there last time, so we already kind of had this orientation of like, ooh, it's a lovely date night. This is a really, it must be a very special experience. Like we talk a lot about like we both participated in Summer Musical Enterprise when we were in Blacksburg and how hard it was to get onto the art center stage at BT. And now they are able to do that. And I said, that's so special as a young performer to be in a real theater space, to have a real theatrical experience, especially
yeah.
when like most of the time you are regulated to, well, we got to go to the middle school, we got to go to the church. And so like, we were just like, this is cool. Like, this is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing is that these kids are getting a theater experience in a real theater space and a theater space that is known in the area and well loved in the area. So,
Yeah. It was very like, they had a playbill, like honestly, it
yeah,
was just one of these things like they did treat it. This is a real production. This is not, like I said, a senior recital. This is not a dance recital. This is a real production. They treated
right.
it that way, and it felt that way being in the Paramount. And then I had a little thing because I always talk about how Richmond has crazy things. We saw what is the Welsh Mary Lude, Mary Lyde,
Oh, yeah, Mari
horse-headed
Lud.
guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mari Lud.
We saw one of those on the way into the theater, and we're like, the Richmond is following us. Like I said, you cannot convince me that there's not pockets of like fairies here. But I
Yes.
saw that as we were going into the theater, and I'm like, Richmond is here. They have followed us. They were talking about how, whimsical and fantastical Richmond is, and Charlottesville had to step up. So, but I'll be honest,
Hmm.
unless you have anything else,
I
those are my
don't.
pros.
Yeah, it's time to get into the cons, isn't it?
Now, again,
Yes.
please let us reiterate.
Mhm.
We loved everybody on stage. They were
Yes.
strong singers, they were strong dancers, they were strong performers. I was
Hmm.
impressed with the king and queen. I was impressed with little Elsa, little Anna, little Olaf, Elsa and Anna. Kristoff was also a fantastic standout. I thought he was
Hmm.
just
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah.
The Duke was very funny. Like
Hmm.
everybody on stage, excellent performer, have zero complaints.
Yes.
But we're going to get into some technical elements that we did not enjoy.
Yes, but it is worth saying before we get into them, massively talented cast acting their hearts out in this show.
Yeah. I mean, and it
Mhm.
did really feel like a very professional production from that standpoint. Any
Yes.
of them could have been, like, if you told me this was the touring cast, I would have believed you that these little kids were cast on the touring cast for Frozen.
Yes.
You know, same thing with adults, but adults, adults are always good.
Yes.
8-year-olds, different.
I don't,
They're very professional. They behaved themselves. They all knew their bits. That nobody was picking noses. It was amazing.
there's no adult that's a bad actor. What are we talking about?
They're
All
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 excellent
adults.
actors, and there's no problems with any adults community acting, including
Yes.
us.
All
All right.
right.
So I will start with we did come at an evening show on a 2-show day. We recognize
Hmm.
that energy might have been challenging. We talked about this with Wayne Theater. We went back and looked to make sure because we said, "Oh, is this opening night? What is it?" But it seemed like they had a show earlier today, so it was one of these things where like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard for anybody to do 2 shows in one day. They probably had a very short break for lunch, so we're like, yeah, it things were a bit off. It just
Yeah.
was. It
Hmm.
was challenging on the best of times, and it just felt like there was a little bit of a weird experience aside from the horse head god outside of the theater.
Yes.
So, to get into like a real thing that like we can't ignore. If we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about Wing Theater having a hiccup on their backing track,
Hmm.
massive technical elements failed for our production. There
Yes.
was no getting around it. It just happened. And I
Hmm.
think that we have to just sit there and say everyone on stage handled it very well to the best of their abilities. They tried their very best, but there was no hiding that there was a massive technical failure for our production.
Right.
So
And
you go ahead.
I was just going to say, and to be clear, it was once again, it was a backing track, not a live orchestra. So there was no live orchestra that could cover while it was going on or anything. It's like when the music drops out or when the music continues but the microphones drop out, there is no way to avoid for the audience seeing that we have a massive technical issue on our hands.
Yeah. And like I think I would be more willing to gloss over it if they just said, "Well, we're an acting academy. There's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with the acting. We're a singing academy. There's nothing wrong with the singing. We're a dancing academy. This is a dance recital. Whatever."
Hmm.
But being that they did focus so heavily on, we also specialize in technical theater. We want kids to have technical leadership roles, whether that's directing or, designing or whatever. So I was like, I can't let it go because
Yeah.
there were problems with the mics, there were problems with the spotlights, there were problems with the projections. Like there were real set elements, but most of the there was cyclorama and there was projections. There was problems with the recorded music. So, I mean, there wasn't anything that went ultimately flawlessly, and not that you would expect everything to go perfect all the time, but when multiple things were going terribly wrong consistently, it didn't really hinder my enjoyment of the performance or the show, but I can't ignore it.
Right. It is a part of the experience when you see those flaws.
Yes. I also said costumes didn't really seem to fit. They didn't
Yeah.
really like, and we have certainly been a part of shows where you have to buy a package. And
Hmm.
so, for example, with Summer Musical Enterprise, we bought packages of costumes for Spamalot, and we wore what fit us from those packages. We bought packages of sets from when we did A Christmas Story. So you don't have to necessarily build everything. I think a lot of productions do, but also it's perfectly acceptable to put a portion of your budget aside and say, oh, we're going to buy this from Disney Incorporated or the Barter Theater or whatever is selling these things.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so for me, it was just like I wasn't necessarily sure if the jokes about the costumes were playing for real, or the costumes were really failing, or that was done
Yeah.
on purpose. There were just so many elements that I'm like, I don't know if I'm not in on the joke
Hmm.
or what, but it's like there were too many. There's at least three elements of the costumes where I'm like, that doesn't seem right. But I don't know if this was a choice or if this
Hmm.
was a, well, we got to live with it because we're here now, you know. So.
Right.
And again, I said, unfortunately, the spots and the sounds were a little weak, and I think that I can maybe forgo that a little bit if it means like it was an educational opportunity, but it was noticeable.
Hmm.
So,
Well, and it
I
is, I do think it's worth saying, as an educational opportunity, yeah, a lot of these things are forgivable. It is, though, also an educational opportunity that was being promoted to and sold to an audience as a full-fledged production.
Right. And I mean, I feel like I could maybe say, like, if I never worked spot, but like one of my first jobs when I came back and I wanted to get involved in theater is I worked spot for Follies.
Yeah.
And, I had to learn a whole choreography for Broadway Baby. And the spotlight was a character dancing with the performer. So I'm just like, I understand what it takes to be a spotlight operator. I might not understand it to the extent of a professional one, but, like, you still got to know things. And
Hmm.
I think the generous read, the kind read I could give is we have certainly worked in productions where maybe you don't get the stage until the week prior because of expense or other performances or whatever. So I can say maybe they were working in spaces that they didn't have these things available. But be it that this wasn't even the first performance of the day, I would have expected things to have been worked out to be like, okay, I'm going to write a note. My choreography is start on stage, left or right or whatever. So yeah, I was like, it is one of these things that it's like, it was noticeable enough that it can't go unmentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, like, there also seemed like there was a weakness in the strength of direction or familiarity in working with the space. And I think the first time I saw this was a dancer or a supernumerary type of character
Hmm.
ran smack into Elsa a couple times because Elsa was making a cross and then he was like, ooh, you would
Yeah.
see somebody running along in the background, ooh, I ran into Elsa. And then there was like a full blown collision between two dancers doing a lift. I'm like,
Hmm.
ooh. So I had like a moment of like,
Yeah.
I just don't know, like, did they not know the spatial requirements? But it was just like very, very strange to see so many people upstaging a lead. It was so many elements that seemed unsafe, of
Hmm.
dancers hitting each other. So I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, it's just so really hard to kind of like figure out what was going on. And like we'll get into like a little bit more of like the biggest element of the night. But like that was like the big thing for me. It's like you just don't cross in front of the lead. Like it's perfectly fine
Yeah.
for actors to have busy work and for actors to be this really engaged background group. But it seemed like everybody was standing in a line. And like I said, it just happened like a couple of times where somebody would cross in front of Elsa as Elsa was going to like go talk to the Duke or go talk to Anna. And you're just like, oh no, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it wasn't something that was clearly an intentional choice either, to be clear about it. It wasn't like this was an intentional choice to show, oh, it's crowded, oh, there's a lot of people around or anything. It genuinely was like traffic issues in terms of directing actors across the stage.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we've also had that experience as well. Like, I grew up in a um, area of the country that did the Gene Kelly Awards and like the Jimmy Awards and stuff like that. So we were used to having, maybe up to 100 kids on stage, 40 of them tap dancing. But I mean, that does mean that, like, as a director, you have to give everybody something to do. Like, it's not
Hmm.
like some of the shows we've been in recently. Like, we have a fairly large cast in the show that we're currently in, and we had a fairly large cast in the last one, but those are still 14 to 16 people, which,
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of can be a little bit more ambivalent about one person doing something. But I do feel like when you start getting into dozens of people on stage, it's really critical to say, here's your little space, you're going to do this. Here's your little space, you're going to do this. Like, I've done Pirates of Penzance, where you have potentially dozens of sisters, and they all have to have something to do, and they all have to have somewhere to go, and they can't run into the pirates. We did Hello Dolly with a huge, courtroom scene where we all had to have something to do. So I just feel like I don't think that there was as much clear direction aside from, well, just mill about. And I know, like, in a play that we're in right now, we even have so far as a detailed sense of directions of, like, I better not hear watermelon, watermelon. You
Yes.
have to say something related to your lines, because there's only like 16 of you and they're going to be able to hear that. So if you are going to ad lib, don't say rutabaga. You say, oh, my excellency, oh, my grace, blah, blah, blah. You have to come up with something very constructive and cohesive. And so that's why I'm just saying, it's like, it is perfectly fine to have a large crowd scene, but maybe corralling them or giving them more concrete stuff to do. It just felt like there was, like, I felt like I could see it. I need to go say hi to my friend. Whoops, Elsa.
Yes. All right. Yeah. So traffic issues, spatial awareness issues. Um,
Yeah, I think I'm
yeah.
going to talk about the big issue of the night.
Yeah.
So I find it a funny story. I recognize I'm strange. It's
Hmm.
fine. Let It Go was starting. The backing track was starting. The projection of the mountain with snow was on in the background. And
Hmm.
you're do 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 do, and you don't hear Elsa. And I'm like, oh no, this is my Tinkerbell is dying time to shine. We are all supposed to help Elsa sing Let It Go. This is clearly what the director has meant, is me and all the 6-year-olds will help her find her voice. And now is the moment, my time to shine. And then I start to hear from the God mic, I'm sorry, we're having technical elements. We can't let you go by without hearing Elsa sing Let It Go. Please let us restart from the previous scene. Just give us a moment. And I'm like, I was this close to starting singing, Let It Go, Let It Go. I was ready. I was ready for my time to shine. So literally,
Yes.
I was just like, I totally misinterpreted a massive technical element, because I thought, oh, they're gonna let us all sing. This is karaoke for the little 6-year-olds and me. We can live our Idina Menzel fantasies. And they're like, no, everything just broke.
Yep. And just sort of like to add insult to injury in that moment, they, like Bree said, they re-rolled to the previous scene, and the previous scene came out and started up, and the Duke of Wesselton was not on stage. And, probably had already headed to his next place for his next entrance, as you are wont to do. Probably did not have anybody near him on headset to run and grab him and say, please get back to the stage. We're about to do the. But he had lines and stage business in that number, so everybody else on stage had to just continue as though he was there, even though he was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. And I mean, this goes back to what I was talking about with the Wayne Theater, where it's just like, I don't understand how you can call this an education in theater. Like, I do recognize that there's a lot of backing tracks, there's a lot of projections in modern theater, and that's fine. But like I said, there's also an education to be had with live performers and working with live music. And so for me, I felt like, at least if there was somebody on a keyboard vamping, just keep going until her pack is fixed or whatever element was going wrong, that would have given a different education, instead of like, hey guys, we got to stop the show and start over.
Yes.
Which, like, there's nothing wrong with, like, I don't mean to sound like such a stick in the mud about it, but it is still one of these things, like, I can't tell you what a sense of camaraderie and community it builds between the singer and their accompanist, to sit there and say, thank you for having my back. Thank you for making it look like it was on purpose. Thank you for making it a dramatic moment, instead of just being like, whoops.
Yep. instead of having to have the stage manager get on the microphone and say, "Hey, everybody, there's a problem."
But I mean, like they did the best they could. The Elsa got back up. She did
Yeah.
phenomenal. It was great. The answers were phenomenal. It was great. But it was still just one of these moments like I was just so blessed, and I will call her out, Cindy Blevins. She still works with No Mountain and Summer Musical. She's just phenomenal, and she really
Hmm.
kind of builds these type of like what it means to be a live music performer, both as an instrumentalist and as a singer. And I just like, I was missing her so much. I wish that she was
Ah,
here with this group because, like, literally, she was doing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with No Mountain and just watching her reels behind the scenes. I'm like, oh man, she would have done great with this group. Like, I mean, they really could have benefited from her experience and from her talent. And yeah, it just broke my heart a little.
yeah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
All right,
All
and then the
right,
very last thing that I have as a con,
all right.
I know these were like some pretty big ones this time around, but it's just because like I said, I want everyone to win. I want everyone to
Yes.
succeed, and when you can't even like hide the failures, you know, even if they're nobody's fault, even if they're just kind of technical elements, it's sad, it's disappointing. You know, it's not the show you intended, you know, and it's nice to show that there was a graceful recovery, but still. But the
Yeah.
last one I had, and I think that this was one that we kind of both felt, but I think that you kind of expressed it like a lot better. So I might let you
Mhm.
like take the lead on it. Was there was like issues with, hey, we have this merchandise to sell, but you can't have the merchandise in the theater. And like, we're just like,
Yeah.
this is, as an audience member, like, I feel like I'm observing something kind of like icky and awful, and I don't know how to feel about it. It wasn't bothering me, but I understand how it bothered other people, but also then why did you? So anyway, I
Yeah.
want you to kind of like talk about your experience with it, and maybe I could add a little bit.
Well, and it was, you talked a little bit about like we're not sticklers for traditional theater etiquette sort of thing. It was this sort of like conflict of different theater etiquettes that you talked early on in this episode. There was a lot of this that felt like a very, hey, come see Disney on Ice kind of thing, that felt like this is a show for kids. And part of that was the merch table at the opening. When you came in, you had, like you said, there were Olaf Squishmallows, there were Funko Pops, and one of the things that they were selling was a little light up LED snowflake wand that like lit up in patterns. It wasn't just a straight glow, it was a running pattern of lights on the snowflake. Um, and you see that and you go, oh yeah, that's fun for little kids. That'll be fun for. Um, and they even had an announcement at the beginning of the show of, hey, and when intermission comes, make sure that you check out the merch table. So we were about 2, 3 seats behind this little girl whose parents at intermission bought her a light up snowflake wand. And she came back with her LED snowflake. And a little bit into the second act, she pulled out the snowflake and started playing with it, turning it on. There was a kid in the row behind her, and she was like pointing the wand over the seat, and the kid was playing back with her and everything. You expect this sort of thing when you are selling toys to kids in a venue. Um, and then suddenly, over comes someone who appears very upset, or at least very strident, being like, that has to be turned off and put away. You cannot have that out during the show. That has to be put off and that has to be turned off and put away. And we saw the parent having to take away the wand from the kid, which caused the kid to start crying. And then the parent had to pick the kid up and walk them out of the theater. And it felt very icky because you're selling this merchandise to families with small kids at a show intended for small kids. And then you're enforcing traditional theater etiquette of, well, you absolutely cannot distract from the show. So, little kid who has a toy that they really love and they're enjoying seeing their show, about Elsa, the ice sorceress, and everything, and they can't turn on their toy. They can't play while part of the show is going on. They can't be engaged in that moment in a way that the entire setup of the production in the venue made feel legitimate, made it feel like, yes, this is a thing you're allowed to do.
And I think we had the conversation that it also added this other layer because it's like, yeah, there's probably dozens of these wands being sold. We saw them all over the theater. And a lot of parents are very much like, okay, we're done now, blah, blah, blah. But there wasn't
Yeah.
like a requirement that told parents to do that. But like the other added layer was we
Mm-hmm.
don't know if this is somebody's brother or sister.
Yeah.
We don't know if they're paying for their kid to take these lessons, to be on stage. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I think anybody paid to be in the cast, but I do think that because it is an educational thing, they probably paid for lessons so that they could be part of this.
Mm-hmm.
They could be good enough to sing Elsa or Anna or whatever. So it just like I think it just complicated things because it wasn't just, hey, here's this random person. It could have been. It could have been a random person who showed up with their
Yeah.
kid, but there was nothing telling the parents, hey, mind your kid until till it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And also like if you are seeing your older kid in a show and you're minding your 3-year-old, well now the 3-year-old's screaming, crying, whatever, and now they're gone missing their old. It just was like, okay, we probably needed to not have merchandise available until the end then, or
Mm-hmm.
we needed to say like, hey, don't give your kid this until the end, or I don't know what the solution was, but it was just like I understand that to some extent this kid was perceived as bothering people, and the usher came over and was trying to regulate the theater, but it was still just like, but there's all these other added layers of I paid for my kid to become a good actor, they won their spot in this through their talent, I can't watch them, we were encouraged to buy this at any time, it's sometimes very
Yeah.
hard to manage that. So it was just like, it was a whole situation that we're like, we don't know what the solution would be aside from like, you can't sell merch then, or you have to wait until the end to buy it, or we don't know what it was, but it just felt like there was this added layer of discomfort and
Mm-hmm.
unhospitable behavior and maybe misunderstanding about what the show was that like we had nothing to do with it, but just watching it we're like, oh, we don't feel
Yeah.
good either.
Yeah. That was a very very disturbing moment to pop up, and it genuinely did feel like, from my perspective here, and I understand there are people who are like, I came to see a show and I don't want to watch a kid play with their wand during a show and everything. But at the same time, let the kid be a kid. If you're going to sell the toy to the kid and tell the parents, go buy this toy for your kid at intermission, you've got to expect that some of those toys are going to be played with during the second act. And
Culturally in America, like, we are very notorious for individuality. Don't tell other people how to raise their kids. Don't put your hands on my kid. Don't tell my kid what to do. Like, we see that in even educational settings. Like, so I even feel like when I'm in a public place, it's not my job to police other people's children because I
yeah.
don't know what reaction I'm going to get from a parent. And also, like, they're not my kids. Like, as much as I'd like to be like,
Mhm.
don't run into the street, like, that's
Yeah.
your kid. We've agreed that we're an individual society. You kind of got to be responsible for your own kid. And if you're not, we kind of all just have to live with it.
Yeah. And I don't know about this from your angle. You might have seen more than I did or anything, but I honestly did not know watching this happen if this was someone coming over who was officially engaged by the venue or by the production company,
Or like another
uh,
parent or a
or
teacher
if
or
it
something.
was just another parent, if it was just an angry adult who was upset over the kid playing with their wand during the show. I didn't see a name tag. I didn't see anything that looked official, but they were also dressed in a way that suggested that they were affiliated with the venue. So it's like, I don't know. Did we watch the venue shut down someone who was just doing what the venue should have expected them to do? Or were we watching someone who wanted to come over and complain at a child, to a child, about the child playing with the toy they were just sold.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was like one of the things that it's like I kind of felt because this wasn't until Act Two, like we said, somebody bought this in intermission. I kind of felt like it was so much more distracting of this interaction than just letting the kid because the kid would have tired out and been like, I'm bored, whatever, you
Yeah,
know. The kid would have petered out eventually. And I do recognize that probably the older kid behind the younger kid maybe didn't like it, or I don't know, but
hmm,
it was very strange. It was very awkward. And like I said, the only solution I could have thought of is you just don't sell merch until the end.
yeah,
If this was something that you kind of anticipated that giving kids light up toys that they can't use until the end of the show, then don't sell it till the end because like I said, when you think of things like Disney on Ice or other Disney performances, they just let them go. Like, I mean, I've seen TikToks and Instagram reels of like, and then they have a little spot for kids to dance along, you know, because they're
yeah.
young and they don't understand, but they still want their money. So yeah, I just felt like I don't know if there was a good solution, but it marred our last few minutes of the show.
Yes.
Well, not to end on a negative note, but it was a challenging show, and as much as we liked all the performers, it was still one of these things where we're like, oh, I don't know if we'll go back to another one. I think like if there was somebody that we knew in it, or maybe somebody
Yeah,
invited us, but it was one of these things that it wasn't what we really expected. It was much more like a dance recital when we were expecting more of a community theater. And I think that if anybody is going to give people the benefit of the doubt and be more open to things, we certainly were the people to do that.
hmm,
And it was definitely more of a feeling of like, yeah, I mean, if they sold this as a recital, I think we probably would have had different expectations.
yeah, absolutely. And it was, like you said, it wasn't really sold as a recital. It wasn't really sold as, hey, these folks have been in their theater class for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Come out and see their recital and show their advancement as performers. It was sold as, come in, have a playbill. Here is a full-fledged
The show.
production. Where, yeah,
And like, and we've certainly been those types of people. Like, we both got master's degrees at like arts institutions where like I might not have even known anybody in the senior showcase, but I always went to the New School for Drama one every year just because I wanted to see people's monologues or duo scenes or whatever because I was just interested in what they worked on and what they felt was like exceptional work. So, like I said, I think if we knew it was even just, hey, this is a culmination of everybody's summer work or like I said, a
hmm,
recital or something, I think we would have maybe gone in with different expectations and enjoyed it a lot more. But as you said, like I think we were at least expecting a community performance of Frozen, if not maybe like a touring level production, because this was high level arts education. And to just kind of be marred by so many misfired technical elements, there were just not enough talent in the world to overcome what was challenging about it. And like, unfortunately, the whole aspect of the evening we had to take into consideration because we had experienced everything in the evening. So even if everything on stage was excellent, like the management and the second you walk in the door and the second you leave, you know, still was part of the responsibility of the show and the venue and everything. So and we didn't experience that anywhere else because like it wasn't really sold that way anywhere else. So anyway, like I think overall we were very, very impressed with the performers and we thought that yeah, they're gonna be excellent and we can't wait to see them in other stuff. But I think we might think again before seeing a DMR thing because like we kept talking about how much we love them all in Newsies, but this was a much harder pill for us to swallow.
yes. I think that's a fair and accurate statement. Yeah.
Well, we got one more show from this weekend, which you'll hear from us next time on You
Hmm.
Know What I Like Theater.
Theater.
And yeah, we hope if you like our podcast or would like to talk about anything with DMR Adventures, please let us know in the comments below. We're happy to start the conversation. And please, if you were part of Frozen and you're performing somewhere else, let us know. We'd love to see you in something else. You were amazing. But thank
Yeah.
you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.